Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast. I'm Joey Dwyer here with Elena Morris from Memorial Gymnasium after Vanderbilt's 98-51 win. Elena is our new women's basketball beat writer. She did a nice job today, as did Vanderbilt. It felt like this one was out of hand. Really, before it even started, Vanderbilt won 98-51. Really trapped Kennesaw State early with the press, had 5 scores in double figures, and had 11 turnovers in the first half forced. Really nice outing for Vanderbilt women's basketball in the opener, so a lot of positive signs. As does the Wash House. Today's show is presented by the Wash House, as is all basketball content. They're our presenting sponsor for basketball season. Are you dreading laundry day, Elena?
I am.
I am too. Is it stealing time to do things you truly enjoy? I'm going to answer that for you. Yes, let the laundry professionals at the Wash House take care of that for you with 2 convenient locations in the greater Nashville area. Just drop off your dirty laundry and our professional attendants can give you back the one thing you can never have enough of, your time. Within 24 hours, you can pick up your nicely folded, fresh and clean laundry ready to be put away. Check out www.washhouseclean.com to stop in today and get your time back. Today's show is presented by the Wash House. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot about what Shea Ralph and her team did today, 5 double-digit scores as Vanderbilt went on to blow out Kennesaw State and show a lot of positive signs for the future. Vanderbilt's freshmen really all got in the game, and it felt like they were contributors. Vanderbilt's freshmen and transfers really made a big impact in this game, as did Jordan Cambridge and Ayanna Moore, 2 returners who felt like had an emotional return to Memorial Gymnasium today after missing last season with injuries. Elena, general thoughts on this one and what Vanderbilt could maybe be in the future?
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt is going to go with a different look than they had last year. They're a pretty guard-heavy team. And, you talk about Ayanna Moore and Jordan Cambridge coming back, which is really exciting for Shea Ralph and her squad. But they're guard-heavy. We saw that they can get out and they can run. The only true forward they really had on the floor was Sasha Washington. And so if you can play like that, you can get out and press, which we saw them do, force a lot of Kennesaw State turnovers. So I think it's going to be a more up-tempo look this year.
Yeah, it feels like Shea Ralph has a lot more athleticism and depth throughout her roster and even length. It feels like there's a lot more size on this roster, and that was reflected in 24 forced turnovers today. Obviously, it's an ASUN team. We're familiar with that conference. It's not the SEC. I don't know that pressing and getting out and running is consistently the answer in the SEC, but doing that today and doing it so well and being on pace for 100 points well through the third quarter, I think is a real positive sign.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think this game also gave Shea Ralph the ability to just try some new things out. You have your opener, you've got new players coming into this afternoon who made it a big impact. So I think she was just kind of testing the waters, going with some new schemes. And so it was kind of interesting to see what she was going with, but I think we saw a lot of positive signs today.
A lot of those positives to me came from 2 players who aren't really newcomers, but haven't experienced this result in a long time. Jordan Cambridge and Ayanna Moore both had 11 points. Ayanna Moore was really solid early in the first half, felt like she was on fire. Jordan Cambridge wasn't a huge scorer today, as she hasn't been throughout a lot of her career, but felt like she was just steady and made a lot of nice plays and did some really good things defensively, forced a lot of turnovers, got some steals, had 7 assists as well. So Jordan Cambridge and Ayanna Moore, I think, are probably the story today, but just seeing what Vanderbilt's transfers did and its freshmen, really encouraging, as well as the balance throughout this roster.
Yeah, I think the 2 of them provided that veteran presence on the floor. They missed last year with the injury. So coming back, Shea Ralph is definitely happy to have them. But talking about the transfers, they were able to add Duke transfer Jordan Oliver to the lineup. And, she didn't do anything flashy, but she did what was exactly needed. She filled her role. She scored. She passed well. She was aggressive, got a block or 2, and just doing what she needed to do. And also another transfer that I was impressed with was Justine Pissott. She came over from Tennessee. She's a sophomore. She only played 1 year, but she has experience in the SEC. She finished today with 12 points, and she's got the ability to shoot outside. We saw her hit a couple of threes with that 6'4" height. That's impressive, and I think that she'll be utilized well. We saw her as the first player off the bench.
Yeah, I don't think either of those transfers will be bell cow type players, but I think both of them will do really nice things. I think Oliver impressed me just with kind of her composure and how cerebral she was. I noticed back-to-back possessions, she threw it off of a Kennesaw State player to give Vanderbilt the possession back. One of them, they got the ball back, and the other one, they should have had the ball, and the ref made a poor call there, I thought. But it felt like those transfers really bolstered them, and it feels like maybe the biggest thing those transfers could give them is depth, because I think at this point they're kind of lacking it. Maybe not this season, but if you look at last year when they only played 8 players, I think this is a big step up from where they were last year. It feels like this is a completely different roster, and Shea Ralph is really trying to transform this thing. She mentioned today the goal is the NCAA tournament, and feels like Vanderbilt took a step in the right direction towards that today.
Yeah, I think so. And we talked about the transfers just now, but one freshman who really impressed me is Camille Pierre. She finished with 14 points and 6 rebounds, just a really efficient game for her. And, you talk about depth. I think Pierre will be able to provide some more of that this year where they didn't have it last year.
Yeah, I want to talk about Vanderbilt's defense as well, which is really good today. Kennesaw State shot 33% from the field, a little over 25% from three. Obviously, not numbers that's going to win you a game in the SEC. I think the thing that concerns me a little bit is they were out-rebounded by Kennesaw State, and that happening against an ASUN team. You know the ASUN well. Probably not a great sign just in terms of your front court depth. I think Sasha Washington's really the only true big this team has. The rest are kind of perimeter players. It's going to have to be good positional rebounding. I think Cambridge can do that. Moore can do that a little bit. But I think maybe that's where I look and say, well, that's kind of a concern point. Looking at the men's roster, I think it's somewhat of the same thing where they're going to have to win just by their guard play and by spreading teams out. Rebounding seems to be a little bit of an issue, but overall I thought Vanderbilt's defense was really solid today.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, looking at the starting lineup, they only had one true forward in that lineup, and so it kind of seems like rebounding is going to be the issue, so you're going to have to find other ways to make up for it. Your defense, you saw the amount of turnovers that they forced, and also just having the ability to score, shooting from outside, spreading out the floor a little bit. Shea Ralph, I'm sure, will figure that out with her team, but yeah, I mean, you know, we see the ASUN a lot, and not to discredit them, but it's different than the SEC, so Vanderbilt will definitely have to figure out how to make up for rebounding with Sasha Washington's really only that five that you really have, like in a true five, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about Sasha Washington, Jordan Cambridge, and Shea Ralph's press conference. I think it was a really high-spirited press conference. It felt like how a press conference should feel after a win, and we haven't felt that in a while. Clark Lee's pressers, even after they won, didn't seem super high-spirited just because they didn't play to their level. It was really nice to be in a presser where there was some excitement and there was some jubilance about this team. Did anything that Shea Ralph or Jordan Cambridge or even Sasha Washington say that kind of stood out to you today?
I think they seemed upbeat, like you said. They seemed excited about this season. I think they were excited to have everybody back. They talked about the freshmen and how, you know, they're not going to come out and do anything like super significant. She just wants them to play their role at first and kind of work them way into it, because it's hard to you know, convert yourself from high school to college level. But I think she's excited with what she has. I think she's just going in with a new mindset. She's got the ability to spread the floor out, and she also talked about the defense, how it looks a lot different from last year. So I think we'll get a new look Vanderbilt, and she mentioned that. But you're right, it was a high-spirited press conference. They came in, they were excited to be here, and I think they were just happy about the way they played today. It was a big win for Vanderbilt.
For sure. Billy Derrick and I will be here tomorrow for Vanderbilt's matchup with Presbyterian. The men's basketball team's actually practicing on the floor right now, which is why we're in this room and we're not using the handy Vandy Sports mic. But we'll be back tomorrow. Elena will be here with the women's basketball coverage all season. I don't know how many videos we'll have, but she'll be around. As you can tell, she earned this role, and we're looking forward to having her this season as well as having coverage of this team. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, and thank you to the Watch House. Peace.